Hi, I am Emily and I live in the clouds, and I am also a giant. I am 60 foot tall, that's taller than most people my age. I am 14 years old and I live isolated from the rest of world. I live with a small community of giants like myself. My home lives among the clouds. Along with other giants' homes. My home and others' lives in the cloud kingdom, and it goes everywhere in the sky above the earth. Before the age Camelot, the giant people and the humans lived in peace with each other. The giant people would use magic beanstalks to go down to earth to interact with humans. The giant people no longer use the beanstalks to go to earth because we can't hide ourselves from the humans. So beanstalk travel is banned because we don't want to be hunted by the humans. But that doesn't stop me from going to earth. We are a community of 500. Only 50 of us are kids, and they are all 10 years younger than me. And I am like their big sister to all 50 of them. I do love being their sister. I love them all so much, but I would love to play with someone my own age and maybe fall in love with someone who is my age. But the only kids that were my own age are the humans down on Earth. I am not against with befriending and loving someone who is smaller than me like a human. I actually prefer it because I love the 50 kids that I care for, and I also love to care for all of the small animals at my home. They are so cute and adorable. I bet humans are just as cute. There's only one way down there, and that's a magic beanstalk. But the village elders, who are 120 foot tall and very old, say that humans are dangerous, and they are the reason why there's so few of us. But my need to explore got the better of me. So I stole the magic beans at midnight when everyone was asleep and made my beanstalk and went down to Earth. I decided to go down and explore after I sleep on the Earth for the first time ever. But first I see the moon and I say to myself, the moon looks so far away. I am really far from home now, and I am going to miss home always. But this is what I wanted to do, and meet someone who was my age and that I can relate to. But first I need to find a place to sleep. I went underneath a large bundle of tiny trees. And I cover myself with my bearskin blanket that my mother made me and go to sleep on the nice soft ground. When I woke from my deep sleep hours later, I hear loud honks like from giant geese. I was shocked to see that they weren't giant geese, they were fast metal cows. Back at home I always picked up my father's farm cows. They were always so cute and soft. I used to love to gather a bunch of them together and hug them all. My father always used to yell at me for hugging all of the cows because they weren't my pets. I love my cows, it makes me very sad to leave them. I have never heard of metal cows before, so I picked one up like I did with my father's cows back home, but it had a human inside and he was screaming at me. So I put the metal cow down and it ran away. The other metal cows ran away from me as well. They all had humans inside. Then I wondered, why do metal cows eat humans? Earth is a strange place, that is for sure. But there's so much world to explore. I must see more of this world. My family always taught me to respect nature and not to hurt it. Throughout most of my life, all giants are taught to help nature grow and flourish. And that humans did nothing but cause war with each other and cause destruction to the lands that they were born on. And it had greatly impacted the earth. But my family told me that is not entirely true about humans. My family told me that there's forgotten history about humans and giants. My father was the one who first got me interested in the world below because there are tons of kids my age on the earth. It got me super excited what my father told me. When I went down to the earth, I kind of didn't tell my family where I was going. Even though my family told me one day we would go down to the earth together as a family. I am a very impatient person because I really wanted to meet kids my age. I am now realizing that it was one-way trip down because the beanstalk sorta destroys itself after 3 hours and didn't bring any extra beans because they are guarded by the elders. My father secretly had some beans, but only for a one-way trip. I should have thought this all the way through. I am getting hungry and I really want to try eating those metal cows without humans inside of them. Because I want to make friends with humans, not eat them. So I look around and try to find some metal cows to roast over a fire. I come across a lot of metal cows. And they are not moving on this weird black rock. They must be dead, I guess. I look around and there are no humans inside the cows or outside. So I grab one and I think it's dead, so I take a few more. I refuse to kill any animals for food, but if it's already dead then it's okay to cook and eat them. I try to cook them over a giant fire that I made by rubbing two tiny trees together. It's been cooking for an hour. I take a big bite and immediately spit it out. Why is that so gross? I need water to get this horrible taste out of my mouth. I find a river and rinse my mouth. That was so bad. Why do earth cows taste so not like beef? I hear a faint voice says, "It's not a cow." I turn and look, it's a kid and become super happy. I ask the kid, "It's not a cow." The kid says it's a car, we humans drive around in them. We don't eat them. I say I understand, I feel like an idiot. My stomach growls so loud that it disrupts the wildlife around us. I was so flustered with embarrassment. I am so hungry, do you know where I can find food? I said it very loudly. The kid says, "Come with me please. I live on a farm with plenty of food." I say, "Thanks, what's your name?" "My name is Emily." The kid says, "My name is Jack." I ask Jack, "Why are you not trying to kill me?" Jack says, "I have been waiting for this to happen my whole life, and to see real proof that giants are real is unbelievably amazing." Jack says he is an author and an artist, and that he mainly works on his book that he is writing about giants, and is drawing pictures of giants how he thinks they will look like. I say to him that now you can draw a real giant. Jack smiles at me and says, "You are so beautiful, but I thought that giants wore shoes like humans. But you are more like a hobbit. But even without shoes, you are more beautiful than I ever thought giants were supposed to look like." I say, "Thanks, and you are also very adorable too, even with your shoes. I never thought that humans would look so much like my people. I wonder why humans and giants don't get along in our past." Jack says, "I really don't know." Then I smell a wonderful thing, roast pig, and so much savory food. I run very fast to the farm where it smells so good. Jack says, "Stop, slow down please." Then I say, "I completely forgot that you are smaller, so you are slower." Jack says, "Next time don't let your stomach be your guide." Haha. "Man, you can run fast. I think you are faster than anybody alive." Then I say, "It's probably because of my long legs." Haha. Jack continues to say, "Welcome to my family's farm. We are roasting 5 whole pigs. If we have any leftovers, we give it away to charity. We also own 5 restaurants, which is where the food is needed." I say, "I am so hungry. Can we go down now? The smell of the roast pigs is overwhelming me." Jack says, "You remind me of a cartoon character named Chowder. He loved food." Then I say, "Cartoon?" Jack says, "Never mind, it's not important right now. We can't rush down there." I say, "Why not?" Jack continues to say, "Because everyone will freak out. We need a plan." I stopped listening to Jack and decided that I was going to be sneaky as a 60-foot-tall giant. Not one of my best ideas. But my stomach was still guiding my actions. I hide behind these giant cars and I crawl on my belly. And nobody notices me except a 5-year-old girl, and she keeps smiling at me. And I tell her to go away very quietly. But she doesn't go. I tell her that you can stay, but we have to stay quiet. Then I grab as much as food as I can, including 3 roasted pigs. And I sneak back to Jack. And I say, "Mission accomplished," and Jack looked so worried about me. But I tell him I am good. Then he looks happy that I am safe. Then we eat together and become fast friends. He draws me a lot while we eat those pigs together. I love his art skills, he is so amazing. We talk about both of our lives before we met. But first he takes me to a big barn to hide me. We talk for hours inside the barn and I also continue to eat. We both appreciate each other and the worlds that we each come from. I start to cry because I can't go back home and I can never see my family again. Jack holds my giant finger with his small hand and says you are welcome to stay here for as long as you want. Then I say thank you and I stop crying. Then we both lean in for a big hug. It's really big for Jack. I have a gigantic crush on Jack and I think he feels the same way about me. To be continued. Me and Jack slept together in that big barn. I dreamt of exploring more of the earth, seeing its great wonders. I also dreamed of me and Jack kissing together. I know that I just met him but I feel so close to him and I don't want to leave him behind. But he has his family to be a part of his life. I am not even sure if he likes me in the same way as I do. Plus, would he leave his family for me? I thought about it all night long and I realized I am going to stay here in this big barn with Jack for a few days and then I am going to go. Jack and I stayed at the barn for a few days and he set up a TV in the barn. I have never been watching TV before back home. I mainly just watched the clouds with my family. I really miss my family. Anyway, before I start to cry about missing my family and Jack drowning from my giant tears, ha ha ha, I am going to talk about how much I love watching Chowder with Jack. And I do understand now why Jack says that I am like Chowder, because we do both love to eat a lot. As days passed in the cozy barn with Jack, our bond grew stronger. We watched Chowder marathons, shared stories, and laughed together. One evening, while watching TV, Jack snuggled closer to me, his head leaning on my giant hand. My heart skipped beats. I gently stroked his hair with my fingers, feeling a spark of affection from him too. Jack looked up at me with sparkling eyes and said, "Emily, I'm really glad you came down from the clouds. My book about giants was missing an actual giant, until I met you. And you are unbelievably gorgeous." My face warmed with a giant blush. My heart is racing like thunder in the clouds. I have never felt like this before. Never have I felt such strong emotions towards another individual. My eyes become locked on Jack's eyes and Jack's eyes locked onto mine. I gently lean down because I want to kiss him. This will be my first kiss ever. I never thought I would be falling in love with and kissing a small human like Jack. But to me Jack is a giant in his heart. Jack sees that I want to kiss him and so he wants to kiss me as well. Our lips meet and it was heaven for both of us. The differences between us and the worlds we both came from melted away. All that existed was this perfect, magical kiss. As we pulled back for air, Jack smiled up at me and whispered, "I've been wanting to do that since I first saw you biting that car. You were so cute." I giggled, my deep voice rumbling, and wrapped my arms around him in a gentle giant hug. Jack's voice was muffled against my chest. "Emily, you are best thing ever to happen in my life." Jack's face emerges from my giant chest. Betrayed, he gasps for air, laughing hysterically. That was a first kiss and giant hug from a real giantess. It was also my first real kiss from any girl ever. I laughed and said it was my first kiss too. I hoped this day with my true love would never end. Until I heard the gigantic roar. It was a giant dragon. Me and Jack were terrified from what we saw heard. Without thinking I picked up Jack and ran for our lives. The dragon kept getting closer and closer. We could hear it getting louder from its massive wings and from its great speed. I thought that my people, the giants, were the fastest living creatures. I was very wrong. The dragon nearly caught us in its giant mouth. Emily says in a panicked voice, "I didn't imagine that dragons were like 10 times the size of me." The dragon stopped flying after us only to shoot its dragon fire at us. The dragon's fire blasted out of its mouth and the range of the blast was a 100-foot long. Plus it destroyed everything in its path. But we escaped. We might have escaped for the moment, but we are still in horrible danger. That the dragon has put the fear of death in both me and in Jack. I feel his human hands trembling on me. I am also trembling so much that it is causing me to shake the ground. Jack whispers, "Has he spotted us?" It's only a matter of time until we get spotted by the dragon. It came out of nowhere. What does it want? I tell Jack that I don't know. I just too scared to think. I say, assuming that this is our last day alive, "I just love you so much." Then I lean down to Jack's level and under the threat of a giant fire-breathing dragon, I kiss Jack on the lips. It was like that movie that me and Jack watched together a few days ago. It was called Monsters vs. Aliens. Jack thought it would help me feel better about being around humans at my size. Anyway, when I pulled away, Jack's face was very red. He said, "Thanks for that amazing kiss, it really helped me to relax. And with the threat of death, it helps to be around someone that you love." All of a sudden I started to feel very warm. I have never felt so warm before. This warm feeling is very strong and overwhelming. But it makes feel so good. All of a sudden I started to grow. I was freaking out because I didn't understand what the heck was happening. I told Jack, "I am getting bigger and bigger." Jack said, "I know, I can see. This would be so cool if there wasn't a giant dragon coming to destroy us." My rapid growth caused the dragon to become stopped in its tracks. It probably got scared with big I was getting. I was scared too, but I kinda liked as well. And I think Jack was enjoying it too. 10 minutes later and I stopped growing and I was at 200 foot tall, and strangely enough my clothes grew too. I was so amazed with how much more bigger I am. I didn't know it that this was possible. The dragon was scared stiff like a puppy. I reached across with my new massive arms and hands and I decided to grab the now petrified with fear dragon. The dragon is now in my fist now and it's toy-sized and so cute. I think that the dragon shrank when I grew. The dragon was 100 foot tall. But now it's 5 feet and so cuddly. The dragon shoots fire at me, but I don't feel anything. I look down and see Jack and his face is betrayed as I look at him. Jack yells, "Wow, what happened? You got so huge." First I was terrified about being killed by a giant dragon, but now I am overwhelming happy that we are both alive and safe. I love your new size, it makes you more beautiful. But I want to understand how it happened. Emily with great wonder says, "I think I know how I got so big so fast. It was because of this now tiny dragon. I must have stole this dragon's size and magic from him and into me, causing me to become a massive 200 foot tall giant. I am bigger than any other giant in history. I am loving being bigger than everything now." Jack, "How long do you think this will last?" Jack responds, "If you stole this dragon's size and power, then you should be able to use that power yourself to shrink you down or make yourself larger. So I tried to shrink myself down. It took me 10 minutes to shrink myself down. But I did not expect how small I would get. I became 6 foot tall. Before I could admire my new size, the dragon attacked me and Jack again and I grew back to 60 foot tall, to be able to handle the attack from the dragon. But instead of trying to kill us, this time the dragon wanted to play with us and starts to lick us. It was now a 5 foot tall friendly dragon. Jack says, "Perhaps all of that power that was in the dragon caused it to go berserk on us. So without the magical power that was overwhelming him, the dragon had become a seemingly calm and tame like a dog. But after I learned how to control my new size powers, the dragon roared and flew away from me. It was moving so fast to get away from me, and it seemed like it was pretending to be a now tame and friendly dragon, but really the dragon was an assassin or a spy or a messenger. Neither me or Jack knew what the dragon wanted from us, nor did we understand why it was trying to kill us or why it just flew away from us." Jack says, "What if the dragon intended to give you its magical power? What if it was just a messenger? Emily responds, a messenger? If that's the case, then who sent the dragon messenger to me? And how did it know where I am? I know that is a pretty dumb question because I'm a giant, so I'm easy to spot. But I'm really scared. I'm really scared, Jack.